Good. Well, that's a large amounts of what appears to be human remains from the passengers of MH17. We're here in Grabova at the site of the MH17 crash. Over 3 years ago, the plane came down here and killed 298 people. Here's where the engines fell and the biggest inferno ensued. This summer, I came back here, as I do every year since the disaster. I've been here many times over the last 3 years. And this year, again, I've found many pieces of human remains that weren't collected by the investigation team. They were turned over to the investigation team via the Donetsk People's Republic forces, and they were tested, and out of the bones that I collected, there were parts of the remains of 7 passengers from MH17. So right now we're in the city hall of the town of Petropavlovka with Natalie, the mayor, and we are delivering the possible human remains that we found of the passengers of MH17 today at the crash site. We searched for a little over 2 hours and found very many pieces. We've photographed everything, documented everything, and at the request of Jared Theory, the head of the MH17 investigation in the Netherlands, we are delivering the remains that we found. We've tried to do it as much as professionally as possible, but I'm not an expert on this, so we're delivering it to her so it can be delivered to the experts that can do the proper DNA analysis and hopefully bring some closure to the family. Hopefully one of these bones belongs to one of the 2 people that has not been identified yet. So we hope this helps the families in some way. It's very sad that there are still human remains here left on the scene so much longer after the tragedy. It's a fact that there are still pieces of bones here because the inferno was so hot it incinerated most of the remains. In April of 2015, the MH17 investigation team came here and did a search of this area to collect all of the possible remaining human remains. And when they did the search, there was no possibility for all of the small parts of human remains to be found because they were so small. And when the ground is muddy, small pieces of bones are very hard to locate, as right now. There's no way we could do a search here and find many pieces of remains just because of the weather conditions. Every year there is more erosion here, and there needs to be another search done here to bring the remains of these passengers back home to their family and bury them with respect. The MH17 investigation team needs to return here and do a inspection of this area in the dry season and collect all of the human remains. Go through every inch of this area again and do what they can to identify the 2 remaining victims that have not been identified yet and bring all of the human remains back home to their families. I call on all journalists, civilians, family members of the deceased to help get this process going and get this investigation going here again so these people can finally lay to rest. And right now I'm in a bit of shock because we were just finishing up the report here and looking around, looking for any possible parts of the plane or anything else. Not expecting to find anything because everything's covered in snow and we've searched it this summer, but we just moved this stone and have found what seems to be more pieces of bone. Several here underneath this stone. They've obviously been here for a very long time. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, many. So now we're going to bag these up and turn these over to the Donetsk People's Republic authorities so they can again return these to the MH17 investigation team for DNA analysis. This is just another example how there's so many pieces of bone still here. This search needs to happen here. It really needs to happen. So now we're gonna bag these up. You see they're very that's a big piece there. With all the snow and the weather, did not expect to find these here at all. This appears to be some sort of necklace. Appears to be a necklace with a melted piece of metal on it. This was the area where the biggest inferno was, and most of the pieces of the plane that were here were melted. We'll bag this up as well. Oh, there's very many pieces here. Just embedded deep into the ground here. Just embedded underneath the stone. Oh. With the weathering, it's impossible to tell what's stones and what's bone. Well, that appears to be a piece of the plane, plastic of some sort. Again, anything questionable we'll bag up. So many. Well, it appears to be all in this spot. They're just layered on top of each other. Good. Well, that's a large amounts of what it appears to be human remains from the passengers of MH17. So we're going to take this to the Donetsk People's Republic authorities right now, and I'm going to let the MH17 investigation team know about it. The contact I've been dealing with is the team leader, Jarrett Theory, so I'm going to notify him as soon as possible that these will be on the way to get delivered to their team. So this shows that a research of this area really needs to happen, because I've been here several times this year and I didn't look underneath this stone here, and probably many other stones I didn't look underneath. So all this area needs to be dug up when everything can thoroughly be identified and searched. I'm a bit in shock.